Okay, so God just pulled me out of the road as I was driving to record this message about testimony. Right, so it's easy to testify when you have seen God. It's easy to testify when you have seen Him move in your life, when you have seen situations that had no life suddenly come to life, when the dry bones became alive again and had flesh. It's easy. And often when we say that we have seen God, we usually mean it in a sense that we have seen Him perform miracles in our lives. We have seen Him through the things that are tangible, the things that we are able to point to say, God did this for me. God gave me this job. God gave me this child. God gave me this marriage. We don't sit and reflect on the things that God did that the naked eye can see. The things that the Lord has done for us that we can't even begin to comprehend or to explain to other people. There are some miracles that happen that only you and God know about. How He has protected you from things that you can't even talk about, things you can't tell nobody about. Like lately, I've experienced a very weird kind of sleep paralysis. Like, obviously sleep paralysis is painful. It's very uncomfortable. But lately, the kind of sleep paralysis I experienced, it was weird in the sense that during the sleep paralysis, my vision, my senses, my seer senses opened up in a form of I was pressed down on my bed, but even though my eyes were shut because I was in deep sleep, I could still see the spirit that was pressing me down in its spiritual form. Not to say the spirit was a person or it was a dog, it was in its spiritual form. You know, when you're able to see a spirit, it looks like it could take a form of a person or an animal or a wind, yeah? But what it does, it looks like a smoke. It looks like a shadow of something. So I saw that spirit pressing me down as I was sleeping, and the Holy Spirit said to me, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid, for this shall pass. So that is something to thank God for. Because in that moment when everybody else was asleep, when nobody could come to my aid, because I couldn't even call out for help. Everybody who's ever experienced sleep paralysis know that in that moment where you're experiencing that, you can't call for help. You can't call nobody. You can't even move because you're paralyzed, literally. So let us not focus only on the tangible things that we can see, that we can show to other people as well. Like, oh, God gave me a car, God gave me a job, God gave me a kid. But let us also focus on the things that God does that are beyond what the human mind can comprehend. How you've seen yourself move through situations that were impossible, where in your own mind you knew that there is no way you're making it out of this, but you did. As I speak of this, I'm reminded of this time last year on the 29th of November 2024. I remember that date very well because it was so engraved in my spirit. Earlier that year, I had planned to do a revival in my church because the 29th of November was just in my heart. I couldn't explain why that date was so much in my heart. But when that date came and what happened, I realized that that date was marked as a date I was supposed to die. Because what happened was, there's something in my home language, in Sepedi, it's called Sauwe. I don't know what it is in English, but it's like your mind temporarily jams. I don't know if there's a spirit that overtakes you and works through you. That would make logical sense, actually. But I'm not 100% sure, so I can't say that is it. But what I can tell you is that when you're experiencing that thing, it's like you can see where you're going, but your mind is so slow to recognize the danger. You are so lost. It's like you're lost in thought, except you're not even thinking about anything. So what happened that day, I was driving. I had just gotten a job offer in Palabora. So I was driving to Palabora, and there's a friend of mine called Kagiso. He has a song called Hale Pirimile. So I was listening to that song the whole way. I'm the kind of person that can listen to one song for 10, 15 minutes to an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, however long my spirit needs it, right? So the actual lyrics of that song, if we were to translate it to English, it says, Hale Pirimile onea boroko. When it's dark, you give me peace. I'm able to sleep at night when I have you. In the midst of it all, when I have you, I am at peace. You can only have peace if you're protected. You can have peace if you're safe. You can't have peace if you feel unsafe. So I played that song. I kept on playing that song. Hale Pirimile onea boroko. Kelala. I forgot the lyrics, but anyway, those that know it know it. It's a song by Spirit of Praise, featuring Kagiso Maile. It's called Hale Pirimile. Go check it out on YouTube. It's there. So I sang that song, and I sang it and I sang it. I even texted him and I said, KG, I've been singing this song for the longest time now, and I didn't know that by me singing that song, I was preparing myself for where I was going, because I was walking, or literally driving, into the lion's den, but I did not know. But because your spirit man can perceive the things that you can't perceive, your spirit can see, can sense into tomorrow. It can sense into 2 hours from now to say, okay, you're driving now, but in the next 2 hours there's going to be a car accident. So you find yourself singing a gospel song. You don't even know why. You just think you're in the mood for gospel. You even play gospel in your car. So I was playing and I was singing that song, singing. And Navigator took me on an off-road. Mind you, at the time I was driving a small car, a Toyota Yaris, right? It's a 2013 model. It's very small. It's not the kind of car you can drive off-road. But still I went off-road. And while I'm driving, I'm like, okay, this Navigator is taking me way out. But apparently, according to the GPS, this is only going to take me 5.5 kilometers for me to reach it's like a shortcut. So I'm gonna get to a place where I'm closer than I would have been had I not taken that route, right? So I'm busy on that route. Okay, I can see it's getting bad, and with every passing minute it keeps getting bad, because now I'm at a place called Ramamba. Those that know Limpopo, there's a place called Ramamba, Mafefe side. I'm driving in that place, and next thing I see a river, a literal river. Like there's a place in Ramamba where there's a road, and right next to the road is a river, like a big river, not a small, no, a big river. So I'm surprised, like, how do these people live? Like, how do you drive here every day? But now I was a bit scared. I was beginning to get scared when I saw the river, but I saw 2 children walking by. Then I was like, okay, this must mean this is their road. This is normal to them, right? So if it's normal to them, okay, well, it's a normal thing. And the thing is, that road is not a 2-way road. Like 2 cars cannot pass at the same time, even if they're going in separate directions. You have to wait for the other person a little bit further to pass, and then you can be able to pass. So I went and I kept driving. After the river, we passed the school. I drove past the school. After the school, now I'm approaching mountains. Something should have said to me, go back, but I didn't. I kept driving and driving up until I found myself literally at the heel of a mountain in a very small car. And there's no network that side. I use Telkom. So when I get there, I'm like, okay, there's no network. I cannot call anybody. At that time, when I was going to my new workplace, I had been unemployed for some time. So I had not been able to afford paying anything. So my tracker was not even working. So if something had happened to me in that mountain, nobody would know where I was, because my parents, my siblings, and everybody that know me and know where I was going, they know that I'm going to Phalaborwa. And when you're going to Phalaborwa, you need to go via Polokwane or Beggarsport. There's nobody who goes to Phalaborwa via Ramamba or Ramatabata. I got lost, right? So nobody's going to look for me in that direction. And my network, my phone is off because you can't get hold of me. And I don't have tracker on the car, so my tracking company cannot find me. Nobody can find me if anything were to happen to me. And I remember I started shaking when I was on top of the mountain. I started shaking. You know the kind of shake you have when you just bought a car and you've never driven in your life, like you've never owned a car enough to drive it every day. It's different from when you're used to driving your parents' car once in a while, versus when you now have to drive in a city. Like I'm a village girl, right? Coming from Limpopo. The roads in Limpopo, they are not as hectic as Pretoria or as Sandton. Sandton is worse. I mean, Gauteng as a whole, it has a lot of high roads, highways and whatever. So now I was shaking on top of that mountain, like shaking. My knees were shaking. I could not stop myself even if you paid me $1 million. I was that scared, right? And I remember saying, God, I know you are here. I know you are here. I know you are here. That's the one thing that I know for sure. I know you are here because you promised me that you shall never leave nor forsake me. I've seen you in many areas of my life. I know that even in the darkest pits of hell, you are there with me. The reason I know you are here is because I'm still alive. Because if you were no longer inside of me, I would be dead. So I know you are here. For as long as I can still breathe, for as long as my breath can still say Yahweh, I know that you're here. And I know that you exist outside time, outside matter. What is a mountain to you? What is a car to you? What is this situation to you? I said, God, there are spirits that are calling me. Because why am I here? I'm a very smart person. This car is very small. Why am I here? Why am I on top of the mountain? And the funny part is, my car had been giving me issues with the tires for like 2 weeks, right? I had, a slow punch. So every day I would pump them, but I never really made time to patch it, right? But before I traveled to Phalaborwa, on the 28th of November, I went to the garage and I patched all of my tires. Like I told those guys to check every single one of them and also just put more air on it, just balance the car, right? So I did not know I was preparing for the road. And the thing is, I poured petrol, I poured full tank way before I was supposed to. I had about quarter tank. I could drive and I could pour petrol somewhere along the road. I could afford to do that. But instead, I drove back. I drove to Gankwana, which is like a bit further. You go back prior to going to Phalaborwa. So I drove back first, put a full tank. Because somehow, my spirit knew that I was going to get lost. And I could not afford to be stuck on the mountain because of petrol. I could not afford to have a tire punch on the mountain. My car was literally driving on top of a mountain with big rocks. And the only thing that stopped me was the car itself. At some point, I saw a caravan. I saw a caravan, and in my sick mind at the time, I wanted to go to the caravan to ask for help. Imagine, everybody who's ever watched a horror movie knows that is a horrible thing to do, because you don't know who's there. And if they're there, why on earth are they living on a mountain? There's no network. What are they doing there? But I wanted to take myself there. And my car said, nope, you are not going there. God said, you are not going there, my child. And he stopped my car. And it didn't work anymore. Then the panic set in full force now, because now I'm stuck. I don't have network. No one knows where I am. I come from a family where people went missing. You know, when you know your lineage, things that have happened in your lineage. My uncles went missing. One of my uncles, his body was found on a mountain. So all these things came back to say, am I next? Am I the next person in my lineage to go missing without a trace? And I prayed. I said, God, you're not. I prayed and I said, God, you're not going to leave me here. I just said goodbye to my child. I'm going to work. I'm coming back. She's only 6. I can't leave my child now. I can't. And I had the nerve, I had the courage rather, to get out of the car, to check my surroundings, to just see. I had the courage to get out of my car, to check my surroundings, to be able to see if I can do a U-turn, because I could not reverse. Reversing, yes, it was possible, but when you're on top of a mountain and the road is narrow, reversing is not a good option, because you can't exactly see. What if anything can happen? Anything can happen. When I looked down, it was further down. It was so far that had I just made one mistake, I would have been done for, and nobody would know where I am. So I got out of the car for a bit and I checked the distance. Okay, if I reverse, if I do a U-turn, is it possible? Then I started the car. As soon as I made a decision with my spirit that I'm reversing, that I'm doing a U-turn, my car started again. My car was working again, because my mind was back. My mind had registered that, okay, girl, this is dangerous. You're not going to make it. You must go back. So my car stopped when I wanted to proceed and ask those people for help. And it only worked when me and my heart and my spirit and my soul decided collectively that I'm going to drive back. So, okay, fine. That happened. I drove back. And let me tell you, when the car was going down, when I was going back down, I was not on any gear. I was on manual. I just put it on manual, and it just flew on its own. The number of stones it hit, I was surprised that it worked until I got to Palabra. I'm surprised that it still works to this day, because what happened was not a joke. So anyway, that happened, and when I got off the mountain, as I was passing the school, I bumped into this other Legend 50. It's a man and his wife. They stop me. They say, Sissy, we see you coming from the mountain. Don't ever in your life go back to that mountain again, because people that go there don't come back. Hey, the hair on my head, the goosebumps that I had, I was in awe of what I had just survived. Like, what just happened? What was that? And every single time when something happens to me, I go back to that moment, because it's one thing to be in a car accident and have a lot of people, taking videos, and you have an ambulance, you have police, you're surrounded by people. Somebody can do something, even though God works through that person. Sometimes in your own carnal mind, you can take it to say, oh, this man helped me, that woman helped me. But when you're in a position where there is no human being, nobody is there, it's just you and God. And the spirits, you can feel them. You can feel that they're baying for your blood. And you are shivering with fear. And Lord said, fear not, for I am with you. So I just want us to focus on that sometimes, on the things that God does beyond the physical. The things that the Lord does in our lives that are beyond what we can say to people, that are beyond what we can show other people. So go ahead and make a list of all the times that you've seen God show up for you. It doesn't have to be something that you share with anybody, but draw up a list. Think of the things that you've once prayed for that you're now living in excess of. You are now living in the situations that you've prayed for, all because of the mercy of God, all because of His grace. We really need to be more thankful. Just because you don't have a car, just because you don't have a house that you would have wanted, it doesn't take away the fact that you're still alive today. My friend was buried yesterday. She was 29. And the fact that I'm still here to speak to you, to speak life into your situations. I'm still here to be there for my child, to make a difference, to still chase my dreams. The fact that I'm not in a hospital, but I'm still here, is something to be grateful for. The fact that you're still here, it really is something to be grateful for. So there you go, family. Let us be more thankful. Let us be more appreciative. Even if not everything is the way we would have wanted it to be. But for where we are, let us praise God. For what we have, let us honor God. For who we are, let us honor God for that. Thank you, family.